So they did upload some more JFK files. Actually, May 3rd, or I'm sorry, April 3rd. What was it, 73 pages, something like that. I think I've looked at most of them. And nothing, stands out except for what is the overriding theme for me anyway that I've taken from a lot of the files I've read is what the CIA was trying to do in their early days. Okay, in their early days, I think what they were trying to do was a good thing. I do. You can make the arguments. I mean, yes, what they became later. Something crazy, but here's in this plays. It all plays into this where we're at, where everything is the problem. So one of the things that stands out, and TikTok isn't letting me use my green screen, but because I've tried several times now, it keeps putting music to it. But was this document that was from May 1967, and it was, it says during 1965 and 66, it's talking about this certain subject, was an active member and leader of the Vietnam Day Committee. The Vietnam Day Committee was a radical leftist group which was heavily infiltrated by confirmed communists and Marxists. So the left has always said, the CIA, they infiltrated like the Black Panthers and those different things. They do. Because this is how the communists do it. And so, and Venezuela is a perfect example of this, because from 1958 to 98, they had a democratic system. Was it perfect? No, but they had economic growth. It was way better. Anybody who lived during that time that has become a citizen here will tell you that there was a time Venezuela thrived, and it was when they were under the party systems. It was like the Acción Democrática party, and then they had the Christian Democratic Party. Okay, that was when they thrived. Then what happened was Democratic Student Society groups, or Democratic Socialist. That's Democratic Socialist. That's the big ones that they've used here, especially on the campuses. They started activating that. Oh, it's not everything is equal. We don't have all the equity. They find whatever they can to rip all over, or they create problems with police and poor neighborhoods, and they create all this division because it's all part of the revolution. So that's why they always use the student groups. That's why you saw the last several years these students marching with terrorist organizations. That's why we can't have that shit. There's a limit to that shit, because that is how they overthrow countries. It is. They will do it. These people don't stop. Just look into Bill Ayer and Bernadine Dorn's history. These people care about no one. They just care about violence. They blew up buildings in the 60s. And here, the Democratic Socialist Society got rooted in all the universities. And that has been something where, yes, the FBI, the CIA infiltrated, because going back to after the Cold War, this was why the CIA was watching other countries. They did not want that coming here. Unfortunately, because of the policies we had in place with the border, we let in a ton of Nazis, okay? And then you get to your 60, in your 1960s, and that's why you've got the Black Panthers, you've got all of them, and yet, what they say can sound good to you, because it's like, well, this isn't fair and this isn't fair. Yeah, nothing in Venezuela is fair now. Tren de Alagra runs that country, so it's a good thing we didn't send them back there, okay? First of all, they just come back here, and at least maybe Venezuela, even though they're saying that, yeah, they're rising up against it. Okay, well, maybe that's for, appearance sake. I can't imagine the government itself wants that. But the government fell because of the Democrat Socialist societies. Then it just becomes a crime corruption den of crap. So that's why these were these movements they would watch, because of the fact that these communists and Marxists will infiltrate. And then it goes on to say here, socialist, the social, the Vietnam Day Committee received financial support and assistance from the Communist Party, Socialist Workers' Party, Progressive Labor Party, and the Berkeley chapter of the WEB, Du Bois Clubs of America. The Communist Party and the Socialist Workers' Party have been cited by the Attorney General of the United States. The PLP is organized, controlled, and dominated by the fractionalist group of dissident communists who broke away from the Communist Party because they did not believe it was moving fast enough in accomplishing its revolutionary goals. So that's really what the CIA was doing in their early days, which is a good thing, because our founders in America talked about the dangers of these factions, these factions. And they love to get a hold of the university kids. They love to, because they're easily manipulated. So that's the biggest overriding theme I see, is that people want to blame the CIA, and there's plenty to blame. Let's face it, I'm not going to give them a pass because of what they ended up becoming. However, what the initial goals for them was a good, they were trying to keep, because you don't want, like, this is again where they use your laws against you, because they say, no, this is freedom of speech. We used to have where you were not allowed to, I think we still do, you cannot run on a communist ticket here. But these people, the revolution is all they care about. And so Venezuela is a perfect example. I've used Venezuela as an example. If that's the socialist healthcare system you want, go look at what their hospitals look like. It is not clean. It's not sanitary. They have but this is what they do. And look at all of these welfare policies. We have one after another. As a nurse that's worked in so many places, okay, I've seen how, this is going to help people, and it never does. It's like we're not helping. So why do we have all this shit? I'm not saying to get rid of all of it, but it's not working. And because socialists have not been able to completely, although they have taken over America, they've done it in small increments. They've expanded the government, especially through things like USAID and other things. And then they use all these different associations, whether it's of nursing, of medicine, of this area, of that area, Department of Education. Next thing you know, you think you're living in a free country. No, you've been living under socialism for a long time. That's now trying to take you into communism. That's why you have more crime. That's why you have more border crossings and people trying to destroy your country. It's all the same problem that the CIA, when they were working for the right reasons, let's say, you can make the argument that they shouldn't have been spying on other nations, but a lot of it was making sure that, because they had nations at times that would say, can you do something? So they would create resistance groups to go in there, because they knew that these people were claiming a leftist organization, and yet communists got in. That's the problem we have here. Okay, when we have people that are professors in universities that in the 60s were blowing up, setting bombs in the Pentagon and shit, can the left doesn't put it together, because if they're still on the left at this point, it's because they're a communist. They are still wanting the revolution, because the revolution is more important to them than anything else. They're obsessed with it. So that's what took down Venezuela. That's what's taken down a lot of countries. So at times those countries would ask the CIA, can you create a resistance? Because they knew what they were doing. So you could say, well, people should have free speech and free protest. Yes, but the problem with this is it goes too far. And look at how far it's gone in America, that all of these Ivy League trash universities were marching with a terrorist organization. No. So that's the biggest overriding theme is the same shit that was going on back then is still going on today. It's just powerful, and there's more groups of these people. Yep, time to clean the place up.